I was excited to do an overlanding trip through the magnificent Titus Canyon in Death Valley National Park. We found a camp spot in Nevada near Titus Canyon Road on BLM land, and then we found out Titus Canyon is shut down. Now we're about to head into Death Valley National Park. It turns out this old mining camp road that we were camped on led to a road called Chloride Cliffs Road, and that led to a great place to explore up in the hills of Death Valley National Park. Before we explore Chloride Cliffs, I'll tell you a little bit about how we got to Death Valley National Park on this trip in the first place. We stopped last night at Walker Pass Campground, part of the Kayaba Wilderness. Walker Pass Campground is right along the Pacific Crest Trail. This is the first leg of our trip to Death Valley. But this is a beautiful campground and it's worth mentioning. Stayed here a bunch of times. Every time I come here, I'm the only one camped here. In this case, I've got my wife and the dog with me. So I'm not the only one, but we're the only campers. Got the Gladiator on this trip. This is going to be the first trip for the Gladiator after I installed the 2-inch lift kit, Mopar lift kit on here. So hopefully we're going to get to Death Valley and get on some trails that kind of test out that suspension. Time for me to pack up, get the heck out of here and start our journey to Death Valley. We got everything packed up, but I had forgotten one very important thing. The Xventure trailer has parking brakes on either wheel, and that's one of the reasons that I bought it, for safety's sake. You can see in this freeze frame the small lever sticking out 90 degrees to the trailer. But I wouldn't realize it for a long time. I'll talk more about that later in the video. We usually drive past a small town in California called Trona to get to Death Valley, but this time we drove farther north on 395 and picked up Highway 190, which took us into Death Valley in a different route. At the Father Crowley rest area, I smelled burning brakes and realized I had left that lever on the on position on my parking brake on my Xventure XV3 trailer. When I get home, that's when I'll take that wheel off and check the bearing and make sure that everything's okay inside there. We found this great campsite just outside the park in Nevada. Woke up to a brand new sunrise and a brand new plan for our exploration of Death Valley National Park. First thing I do in the morning when I wake up on an overlanding trip is start up the Jeep, make sure it starts in the morning. We came out here to Death Valley to do Titus Canyon. I brought my wife and my little dog. I thought it would be a great trip for them. Not too rough of an off-roading trip with beautiful views. Came to Death Valley and I found out that Titus Canyon's been closed down for a while and it's gonna be closed for a while. Well, that sun coming up is a welcome sight because it's gonna warm things up around here. Luckily for us, we picked a place to camp that's right on the other end of a trail called Chloride Cliffs, just outside the park. So we can get on this trail and head right into Chloride Cliffs. I used 5 gallons of water up. Last of it I used to douse the campfire last night. I do want to test out the 2-inch Mopar lift kit that I put on this Jeep Gladiator last summer. I need to swap out these Jerry. One goes inside, one goes outside. I think I hear my water boiling. Time to make some coffee. I'm always the first one up, and the first thing I do is make sure the Jeep starts, and the second thing I do, make some coffee, and this is really important. Oh, there's so much to do out here. It's such a beautiful, huge place that really doesn't matter that a couple trails are closed down. There's plenty of other things to do. So this is my full camp setup. On this trip, we have the Gladiator Rubicon EcoDiesel towing our Xventure XV3 off-road trailer. Got the privacy shelter set up. We had a nice campfire last night. Got the dog on this trip. Coleman stove, barbecue grill, Sarge's overland storage case, bear resistant. This one was super cold this morning. Keep your long underwear on when you're coming to the desert. It does get cold. We'll let some air out of the tires to get better traction and soften the ride on this washboard road. Well, we don't know much about Chloride Cliffs, but we do know that we're here, and Chloride Cliffs is a short ways away down this old mining claim road. We intersected with Chloride Cliffs Road, followed that till it took us into the park, and eventually we found a sharp left turn, and that's where you start climbing up to the actual Chloride Cliffs. My wife does most of the driving off-road, and I told her to put the hammer down going up this hill. That way we could see exactly how this Mopar 2-inch Bilstein lift was going to work out soaking up the bumps going up this rocky road. Flying up the trailway we were, the trailer was taking quite a beating, and I could see in these videos that the back tire was coming pretty far off the ground. I guess that's how people flip their trailers. Later we found out that all the food in our cooler was destroyed. We climbed up pretty high till we found an intersection with a nice flat spot, and we decided what the heck, we'd drop the trailer and go off exploring just in the Jeep Gladiator alone. I should have set a waypoint on the Garmin so we could find our way back to the trailer. I didn't do that, so as we got farther and farther away exploring, I got a little nervous about finding my way back to it. Chloride Cliffs is just littered with abandoned mines. A lot of roads that take you all over the place where you could easily get lost, and the most beautiful, stunning views of Death Valley that you probably see just about anywhere in the park. Up at about 5,000 feet, we saw this shelf road that was particularly interesting and dangerous looking. People have definitely driven it, but I wasn't going to do that in our Gladiator. But I'll be back and I'll at least walk it. If any of you guys out there know anything about this shelf road or you've been on it yourself, let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know. From what I understand, camping up here at Chloride Cliffs is perfectly legal. You just have to drive 1 mile in off the main road and then pick out your campsite there or farther in. We weren't planning on camping up here on this trip, but this would be a great place to camp, and I'm sure if you picked out a camp spot up here, it would be one of the most magnificent camp spots that you ever had. This Gladiator EcoDiesel has worked really well for us, especially since adding the 2-inch Mopar lift kit. It was getting later in the day, and I started thinking about getting back to our trailer, which I could see very far across this valley. And if you look, you'll see a small black dot way over there, and that's my little trailer. Of course, I had to stop and investigate this old building. I'm sure it's been photographed a million times, but this is my first time here. Oh my God. This is a mine. This is the entrance to the mine. You can see all the rocks up on top here. I've just fallen on this shed, little metal roofing. And here's the mine. Holy cow. How would you like your job to be crawling in there, digging ore? What a way to make a living. I'm sure these piles of stuff are all the tailings that came out of the mine. I got a friend that's a rock hound that likes to look through tailings. Sometimes there's some good stuff in there. I don't know about this one, but holy cow. Wow. I'm not too brave to go into an old mine. There it is. You can go in a little ways. They got a fence in here, so you can't go any farther. I don't think you want to go any farther anyways. These things weren't exactly engineered that well, I don't think. But holy cow, wow. Something else. Man, oh man. Whew. We dropped the trailer here at this intersection of the trail of Chloride Cliffs, and now we're back. Hook up the trailer and then we're gonna head out. You just gotta hook this trailer back up, piece of cake, and we're gonna head down this way right here. We started out heading back the wrong way, and I got plenty of practice backing my trailer up on off-road trails. There's definitely a lot of roads out here that I would love to explore, but this wasn't the time and place for me to do that. I'd come back out with my Wrangler by myself and I could do that then. We managed to find our way out, and it was a nice ride out through the desert. We headed down, since it was Thanksgiving and we destroyed all of our food in the cooler, we headed down to the famous Oasis restaurant at Furnace Creek and got ourselves a nice Thanksgiving meal there. They had a real nice spread, nice buffet spread out there, and that was great. We got to sit right by this fire with a dog too, and have a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Spent one more night camped in the desert in Death Valley, and were rewarded the next morning with another beautiful desert sunrise. To make the drive home a little more interesting, when we hit Highway 14 and got near Jawbone Canyon, we jumped on Jawbone Canyon Road and rode Jawbone Canyon Road from Highway 14 over to Lake Isabella. It's a beautiful ride, beautiful backcountry wilderness drive. We'll keep it practical, keep it simple, and keep exploring. And don't forget, here on Mighty Ruttzz, the best is yet to come. If you enjoyed the video, smash that thumbs up button, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.